love you. So many great wrestlers in here. I just met some fantastic-looking people. They are tough cookies. They are tough cookies. How's your team doing, your wrestling team doing? Good? Huh? Good? Where are they? That's a rough-looking group over there. I love it. We need more of that stuff. So, you know what happens, right? You heard what happened. Iran took over 2 of our boats. They said they're going to release them. Oh, isn't that nice? They're going to release them. This isn't the same country. When I hear that, just happened. It literally just happened, and I think it's not so good. It's just an indication of where the hell we're going. I mean, hopefully they get released and fast, but it seems to be an indication of where we're going. That Iran deal is the dumbest deal I think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So you got to go out, buy Time magazine. One of the few great stories. I mean, I love Time magazine. Can you believe it? So I was on about 3 times in the last couple of months. But this one, this writer happens to be very talented. How Trump won. Now, you know, let's hope. Hey, let's hope, right? Because we're going to turn it around. We're going to make our country great again. It says now he just needs the votes. We have the people. And essentially, it's a story that talks about if the people that come to these rallies, and even this one, you know, I have to tell you. So the fire marshals, the people came, they said, Mr. Trump, we're putting them all over the place. But the floor, we don't want it to collapse. Don't get scared. So they have to keep that section of the floor, and they're sending away hundreds of people because they can't. Now, would you rather take a chance and let the floor collapse? Yes? All right, let them come in. Well, my first, you know, I'm very good at construction. So my first question was, well, how deep is it? And it's only a well. I said, how deep is it? They said, it's a drop of 3 feet. I said, 3 feet, I don't mind if it collapses, okay? You know, 3 feet, it's a pipe chaser under there. But anyway, we still don't want it to collapse. So we've had an amazing time, and it's been an amazing journey for all of us. People are turning out for what we're doing. The quiet majority, call it the noisy majority. It's really not quiet. I was saying quiet majority. And, you know, that's an old term that used to be used. But the truth is, this is a very, very upset, this is a very, very angry in many respects majority. We're talking about a majority. We have people in Dallas, we had 20,000 people. Mobile, Alabama, 35,000. Oklahoma, 20,000. Wherever I go in Iowa, you know the crowds are always packed. The only thing that holds us in is weak floors or walls that don't go out far enough. And, you know, here and in New Hampshire, we're doing incredibly well in New Hampshire, South Carolina, everywhere we go. We're going to be in Pensacola very soon. In Pensacola, we're going to have 20,000 people, at least. In fact, the problem is the place holds 15. That's always a problem, right? But we have 20,000 people already signed up, and it took about 3 days to do that. The Gravis poll just came out. I love to talk about polls. You know, I'm a poll maven. I became like the all-time expert on polls. And people say, why does he always talk about polls? But these are the people that are number 12, number 9, even the other candidates. One of them was number 13. Why do you always talk about polls? I said, because I'm not number 13. I mean, if I were Jeb Bush, hey, it's true. If I were Jeb Bush, I wouldn't be talking about polls. I don't talk about polls. I'd say, let's talk about the weather. Is the weather good? I mean, think of it. He spent $69 million just to show you a waste of money. We could distribute that $69 million to these people in the room and do very well. Or give it to the wounded vets, or give it to the, you know, give it to the wounded warriors, give it to our great veterans, give it to somebody that would, here's $69 million, and he's nowhere. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen, and it's sad, actually. You want to know the truth. And I spent nothing, and I'm at the top. Is that good? You know, that's the way the country should be. Our country should be that way. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if, you know, in education, we're ranked number 29 or 28 in the world, and yet we're number 1 in terms of spending. Common Core, by the way, we're taking it out. It's gone. Okay, Common Core. We're going to use local folks for that. Second Amendment, while we're at it, 100%. So that's up, and Common Core is down. Second Amendment, oh, we're going to take care. We believe in the second. You know, if we had a couple of guns in Paris, if they had, or in Los Angeles, or in California, where they had the 14 people killed with these 2 radicalized horror shows, And if the bullets were firing in 2 directions instead of 1, it would have been a whole different story, folks. Would have been a whole different story. It's terrible. Terrible. We got to get tough. We got to get smart. We got to get vigilant. We got to know who the hell is coming into our country. Okay? We got to get vigilant. And when people see other people doing bad things, like these two, they had pipe bombs all over the floor of their apartment. People saw those bombs. Nobody calls the police. Nobody tells. Nobody wants to talk. To me, those people are just as guilty as the people that did it. And we got to get smart, because a lot of people know what's going on. A lot of people know what's going on, and the families know what's going on. Every family, I'll tell you what, you don't think the wife or the husband talks? They talk, and they know what's happening. And when the World Trade Center came down, you don't think that their families knew what was happening, where those planes were going? And it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. We're going to get things changed around a lot in this country, because right now we're a laughing stock, okay? So the Gravis poll came out, now think of it, 41%. 41%. What did they have, 15 people when they took this? We're rapidly losing people. Sad, isn't it? Nah. Is it sad that we're losing people? No, I don't think so. 41% for Trump. Cruz is second with less than half. Rubio at 11. Then NBC just came out, 38. 38, that's a lot. I mean, I'd almost take 41 and 42 if you had 3 people, but we have like 14. Fox News came out just way, way ahead, 35% in Fox News. Time Magazine, you're going to go out to buy it. I put that down. Pensacola, you're going to watch on Florida. The hell with that. That's all I need from that sheet. Now, in Iowa, let's talk about Iowa, because I got to win Iowa, okay? Look at that. Iowa. I love Iowa. We've really hit a note with the evangelicals. We've hit a note with the Tea Party and with just the people of Iowa. I'm all over the place. I like it. I love it. Maybe I'll just I think I'm going to buy a farm and settle down over here. Right? No, I think I will. A medium-sized farm, because I don't know if I want to work that hard, right? But a nice farm. It's an incredible place. Iowa. CNN. So CNN came out a little while ago. 33 for Trump, 20 for Cruz. That's good. Quinnipiac just came out yesterday, 31% for Trump, 29 for Cruz. A little too close for comfort, folks. PPP just came out, 28 for Trump, 26. By the way, I hate to tell you, Iowa, this is the only place that I'm like doing, let's say it's even. I'm not exactly thrilled. I go to New Hampshire, we have this massive lead. They're all playing for second place, supposedly. I hope that turns out to be right, because I don't care who's in second place. Then you go over to South Carolina next, and I have a massive lead. You know, like I'm at 39 and somebody's at 11, and you have some at 1 and 2. I think they have a long time. They ought to get out fast, because when you're at 39 and somebody else is at 1, actually we have 39 and somebody's at 0. I would say they're wasting their time. Don't we agree? I would say, by the way, the fire marshal, I want to thank all the people, because they're letting those people come back in, and that's great, instead of sending them home. That's really great. But this is a good wrestling arena. I guess that's what it is, right? Does Dan Gable, I'll tell you. Is Dan Gable a good man, by the way? Huh? I love Dan Gable. That guy was a serious wrestler. So with PPP, we're up. With Monmouth in New Hampshire, we're at 32-18. NBC just came out in New Hampshire, 30-14. That's what I like better, Iowa. Do you understand? That's New Hampshire. So come on, Iowa, will you get with it, please? I'm a little upset. I won't buy that farm here. I'll go someplace else. NBC News, Iowa, Trump 26, Cruz 24. It's too close. I don't like it. So we have to change it, okay? I cannot stand it. Here's something just came out. You know the nice thing about not using teleprompters? Like our president and half of these politicians, and the other half read their speeches. They go like this: ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And they're out of here in 15 minutes. I'll speak to you for like an hour, but we speak about current events. Like, as an example, the boats got captured. Now, maybe by the time we get out, we get them back, but maybe not, because the Iranians like to taunt us, because they don't have, like, respect for our leaders, right? But this just came out. Website, Trump website traffic. 2.5 million views per month. Listen to this one. 1.6 billion requests. 1.6 billion. You know what that is? I didn't even know. I said, is that good or bad? I think it's good, right? The person that does this stuff, the professional that reviews this, he said it's like unheard of. So there's a lot of good stuff coming out, and it's sort of amazing. So with the polls, I want to win in Iowa. I want to really win. I don't want to come in second. I want to win in Iowa. Now, smart would be to say, I want to do well. That way, if I come in second, everyone's going to say, oh, he did well. I don't want to do that. I want to win, right? See? She's saying yes. So I want to win. Now, the press is going to say, oh, isn't that crazy? He said he wants to win. I think we're going to win. I think a lot of people are going to come out that, haven't been caucusing before and haven't done it before. And I think a lot of people are going to come out. The theory is that they'll wait for 5 hours in a line. Hello, darling. Look at you. They'll wait for 5 hours in a line in the cold weather, but they won't caucus, okay? I think they're going to caucus, but let's see what happens. I mean, I hope they will, because I want to have a mandate. I want to take back trade. I want to do something. We're losing billions and billions and billions of dollars a year with China, with these ridiculous deals that were made by people that don't have a clue. I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm not having people give me checks for millions of dollars. These guys are all controlled, including Ted. He's got millions of dollars from these 3 or 4 characters that I don't even know. I mean, they're wealthy guys. They give them millions of dollars. You think they're doing it for their health? I don't think so. And by the way, Ted is totally against ethanol. Please remember that. And I'm for ethanol. So I think it's an important thing, okay? So got to remember that. I toured with your ethanol representatives in the industry. I toured some of the plants. I think it's fantastic. Anything we do to create fuel is good because we want to stay away from the Middle East. We've learned that lesson the hard way, okay? So it's very important to develop, for me, a mandate. I want a mandate. I want to go in big. And if we win Iowa, the reason Iowa is important is that I honestly think if we win Iowa, and you guys haven't picked a winner in a long time. I hate to tell you this. I don't want to be a wise guy. You'll say, get the hell out of this wrestling place, and then I'll have to take on your wrestling team. And your wrestling team likes Trump. Do you like Trump? Okay, I could see it. But honestly, I want to have a mandate. If we win Iowa, I think we're going to run the table. These guys don't know. They have no idea. They didn't even think I was going to run. The press, they're the most dishonest people I've ever seen in my life. They are disgusting. No, they're terrible. They're terrible. Not all of them. 25% of them are fine. 10% are great. But most of them are absolute the worst. I mean, they are so dishonest. They are so totally dishonest. So it's one of those things. But if we win Iowa, I think we run the table. I really do. Because you go out to, New Hampshire, big lead. If you don't win Iowa, something happens. But remember, you haven't picked a winner in so long now. It's been so long. You need a winner. I'm going to win. Nobody else is going to win. I'm going to win. One of the things that just came out, CNBC did and other people are doing, if I run, and let's assume it's Hillary, even though she probably should be in prison in all fairness. No, probably. Well, I dream of running against Bernie, Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bernie Sanders. I'm going to raise your taxes to 90%. Oh, really? Oh, really? You're going to raise my taxes? I don't think so. No, I would love to run against a socialist. I would love, or communist. I don't know what he is. He might be a communist. I think he's sort of tipped over the ledge. But it'll be very interesting to see. Those last emails that Hillary has that whole thing with her instructions about how to do it. Let's avoid it this way. That shows a level of sophistication that we weren't supposed to be seeing, folks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Hillary. But I think she's going to be protected by the Democrats. Probably she's going to run. Many, many people have been destroyed because of doing 5% of what she did. Their lives have been ruined. Their lives have been destroyed. We'll have to see what happens. But whether it's Hillary or Bernie or somebody else gets in, I just look forward to winning here and winning and doing something spectacular because there's so much we can do. I have the greatest businessmen in the world lined up to take over areas of trade. Guys like Carl Icahn, who endorsed me, a great businessman, and many others. And I say, as an example, Carl, check out China. 500, trade deficit, $500 billion. Check it out. He doesn't know about that stuff. He doesn't know about losing that kind of money. We rebuilt China. China, honestly, China has been one of the greatest thefts in the history of the world, what they've done to our country. Now, with that being said, I love China. I love the people of China. Their leaders are just too smart for our leaders. Our leaders are dummies. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I love China. Now, I have people, they give me tens of millions of dollars for apartments. I just closed one the other day. What am I supposed to dislike? The Chinese? I like the Chinese. I love the Mexicans. The Mexicans, I have tens of thousands of Hispanics over the years that have worked for me. Thousands of Mexicans, they're great. The country is wonderful, but they're taking advantage of us at the border. And we will build a wall, by the way, and Mexico will pay for the wall. They will pay for it. So we're going to build a wall, they're going to pay for the wall. And the reason they're going to pay, no politician's going to get them to pay for the wall, because a politician, all talk, no action. They've even asked me, Donald, how can you possibly suggest that they pay? You know how? Because they make billions of dollars a year ripping us off. Billions. Look at the deficit we have with Mexico. And the wall is peanuts by comparison. You're not talking about that much money, relatively speaking. And we need a wall. And we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. They can come into the country, but they have to come in legally. They have to be vetted. So I'm running against different people, and Ted's been nice to me, and I've been nice to him, but he's got a problem, and you know he's got a problem, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because natural-born citizen. And you see here, articles all over the place. And this started not with me, just so you understand. This started, the Washington Post was interviewing me, and they're asking me a lot of different questions on different things. And then they said, what about Ted Cruz? Do you think is he allowed to run for president? If he wins, is he allowed to do it? I said, I really don't know, because he was born in Canada. He was actually a citizen of Canada until 15 months ago, which a lot of people don't understand. And that's a big problem. That's a real problem. And then Lawrence Tribe, who's one of the top constitutional lawyers from Harvard, he wrote a big article saying that this is an unsettled area of the law, a very strong article right here, and it's an unsettled area of the law. Then today the Washington Post comes out with a big story, and Ted Cruz is not eligible to be president. Now, I don't know. What do I know? But I can tell you this. The Democrats are going to bring a suit, and you can't run unless you're going to be. How can you run like that? You don't even know, because a lot of people think that it's going to be a very, very difficult thing to win that case. We'll have to find out. And I'm doing it for the party. I'm doing it for the Ted. You go in, you ask for declaratory judgment, and you ask the court for a ruling, and then you can run. But you know, you have to be careful. It would be terrible if you go down all the way down the line, then you find out because of the fact that you were born in Canada. You know, a lot of people say that natural born means you have to be born to the land and, you know, on the land in this country. So we'll have to see. We're going to have to see. But it is certainly a complicating factor, and I hope it works out. I mean, I do. I want to win it. I think I'm going to win it anyway. But I want to win it very much on the merits, and I don't want to win it on technicalities, but that's more than a technicality. That is a big, big factor. So we'll see what happens on that. Just one other thing. So we have a debate coming up. Is anybody going to watch it, or are you going to watch wrestling that night? Do you have a wrestling match that night, fellas? Huh? Thursday night, are you wrestling? I'd rather watch you wrestling, frankly. But, you know, the debates have been amazing. And I've never debated before. I create jobs. I created a great, great company. Had a lot of success in everything I've done. And I've had a lot of fun. And frankly, I didn't know about this. They even have polls on debates. So they polled all of the debates. And every single poll I've won. But here's Drudge, who's a fantastic guy. Trump, last debate, 46%. Time Magazine. I like it now because they finally wrote a great story about me. 49%. Slate, 51%. U.S. News and World Report, 69% said I won. Now think of it. I mean, I don't know them. I don't own it. PBS, Public Broadcasting, 69%. Here. See the small name up there? 69%. All of these things. Washington Times, 62%. CBS Philadelphia, 59%. These are people calling in. Fox News, 62%. These are people calling in who won the debate. And I think it's fantastic. I mean, they say, now we have another one coming up. And I enjoy it. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to like the debate, but I enjoy it. And all I'm doing is trying to get the idea across that we have to be strong. We have to be powerful. We have to rebuild our military and hopefully never use it. You know, It's like these guys. The stronger, the tougher, the better you are, people aren't going to be picking on you the same way, right? We're like, right now, we're being picked on. We're being picked on. General Orellana just left, and he said that the readiness of the Army is the worst that it's been that he's ever seen, and the worst that most people have seen for many, many generations. I mean, we have to have the strongest. This has to be the strongest now. And you don't think the enemy hears him saying, frankly, he shouldn't even be saying it. You know, he's leaving, but I wish you wouldn't say a statement like that. How come our generals are always on television? They're always on television talking to these people. I don't want our generals on television. I want our generals to be like generals. Do you think that George Patton did sit-downs with anchors and said, here's the way we're going to do the war. We're going to attack from behind, and then we're going to do... This is crazy. I promise you my generals will never be on television, okay? So, they're not going to be. Well, it's a little like Obama. Obama, we should have never been in Iraq, and I came out in 2003, 2004. I said, don't go in Iraq, and I'm the most militaristic person in this room. I said, don't go into Iraq because you're going to destabilize, because Iran and Iraq would fight. It's like two guys, fight, fight, fight. They were equal militarily. And they'd go 10 feet this way, 10 feet that way, 10 feet, then they'd rest. Then Saddam Hussein would drop some gas, and everybody would complain, and they'd fight, and they'd go back and forth, and they'd go back. After years, you know, they take 2 years of rest. Then they start fighting again. What the hell are we doing? And I said, if you knock out one or the other of those two powers, which we're very capable of doing quickly, if you knock it out, the other one's going to take over. And in this case, we knocked out Iraq. Big mistake. We destabilized the entire Middle East. But now Obama has it. And instead of staying there with a small force, he said, we're leaving. And we're leaving on a certain date. And he gave the date. He said exactly when we're leaving. So now the enemy, I couldn't believe it. I was saying, you know, I'm a strategist. I'm the one that wrote about Osama bin Laden in my book before the World Trade Center came down. Everyone said, how did you know that? Because I saw him. I was watching him and reading about him making horrible statements about us. And I said to myself, I hope we're going to take this guy out. We didn't take him out. And actually, Bill Clinton had their sights on him, and for some reason, they didn't pull the trigger. If they pulled the trigger, you'd probably have the World Trade Center the way it used to be. Okay? And by the way, most importantly, with all the thousands of lives that have been lost and affected so gravely. So we have to be smart. And here's what I just read. And I read this, and I somehow related it, and it was sort of an amazing thing. And I'm going to read it to you. Al Wilson, the late great. Does anyone know Al Wilson? Singer. He wrote this little thing about the snake, right? The snake. So we have a little situation that could be a Trojan horse. You looked at what's happening in Germany and Cologne. Cologne never had a problem. Cologne, Germany. Okay? Everything's fine. Everything's nice, clean, beautiful, no problem. Now they're having riots. They're having rapes. The New Year's Eve. Have you heard about the New Year's Eve? It was like a disaster. And the German people are going to riot. The German people are going to end up overthrowing this woman. I don't know what the hell she's thinking. But they have millions of people pouring into Germany, and now they're not stopping them. Now I guess they're going to have to stop them because the German people aren't going to put up. And we want to have, our leaders want to have, I don't think you want to have, people coming in from the migration from Syria. And when you look at that migration, it's very unusual. When I look at it, I see so many men, and they're young. They look like they should be on the wrestling team. And they're young, and they're strong. And you don't see that many women. You don't see that many children. It's sort of a weird deal. It's the migration. But you see all these young, strong people, and they're mostly men. And I say, what's going on? I noticed that, in all fairness, this is like old news now. I noticed that 3-4 months ago, when it all started. And I said, what's going on? And who knows what it is? You know, the famous Trojan horse. I mean, is this a Trojan horse? I doubt it, but it could very well be. And they don't have paperwork. They have no documentation whatsoever. They have no documentation. And then we're bringing them into this country. We don't know who they are. And you look at what happens in California, and you look at some of the things that happen, including, by the way, flying airplanes into the World Trade Center. Why are we doing this? Build a safe zone in Syria. Get the Gulf states who have a tremendous amount of money. I mean, Saudi Arabia was making $1 billion a day before the oil went down. So now they're making half, okay? They're making a lot. Get them to pay. They're not paying. The other ones aren't paying. We're paying. We always pay. We're the sucker. We're the sucker. We're like the stupid sucker. And we're not going to pay anymore for all this stuff. And anybody that comes in, if I win, they're going back out. We're going to do it humanely and everything, but they're going back out. We don't know where they are. We don't know who they are, where they come from. And we've already had some. You saw the couple that came in from Iraq, where they were already planning different things. One in California, one in Houston, I believe. and they're planning things. No, we don't need it. We got enough problems, folks. We got enough problems. We got enough problems. So I read this the other day, and I said, wow, that's really amazing. That's really incredible. And it's the snake lyric. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. Interesting. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Oh, well, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up cozy in a curvature of silk and then laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. Now she hurried home from work, and that night, as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken and revived. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in, by now you might have died. She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bit me. Heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? I mean, you know, and hopefully that's not going to be the case, but it's pretty. I read it and I just sort of put it together. We have no idea what we're doing. We have no idea who we're taking in, and we better be careful. Okay, so here's the story. We're not winning anymore. We don't win. We don't win a trade. We don't win a war. We can't beat ISIS. We can't beat anybody. We don't win. Our boats get taken a little while ago, right? I mean, you know, again, I imagine they're giving them back. I mean, we just gave them $150 billion. They'll probably say, how much are you going to give us if we give you back? I guess there are like 10 sailors or more. But that's the way we do it. We give $150 billion. We get nothing. We get nothing. They still have our prisoners. Instead of saying we want our prisoners before we start negotiating and double up the sanctions, you would have had the prisoners in about 2 minutes. But we don't do that because we're led by people that don't have a clue. We're led by people that don't have a clue. And we don't have victories anymore. We don't have victories anymore. When do you see us having? When did we beat China in trade? When do we beat Japan in trade? When do we beat ISIS? Do you ever hear a good story? We are winning with ISIS. We are winning. You don't hear that. We don't win. We don't win. We don't win ever. When was the last time we had a victory? We don't have victories anymore. We lose on trade. We lose on health care. Obamacare is a disaster. We lose on every single aspect of our life with these politicians. Other countries have people that are much smarter and much more sophisticated. And frankly, it's a word that's an important word. They're much more cunning than our politicians. You look at Mexico, what they're doing on the border. And you don't think they're sending people over? What do we have to take care of them for? Let the stupid United States. They call us stupid. Okay? Kate gets killed, shot in the back in San Francisco. Man was over here 5 times. Who do you think sent him back? You think he just kept coming back for his health? He came back. Probably they didn't want him. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. But what do they want to have him in jail for the rest of his life for and take care of him? We'll send him to the United States. Jamil, this wonderful young man, the father's a friend of mine. Jamil Shaw. Just an amazing guy. The father's an amazing guy. His son shot in the face as he's walking into his house. Loved his father, and father loved, and the family loved this kid beyond. I mean, they can never ever come back from that. Just vicious. shot right in the face. Purposely. Stood there. Boom, boom, boom. 3 bullets. And the father heard the sound and he said, oh, my God. Because he just spoke to his son. He said, I'll be home right away. And he heard the bullets right outside the house. And the woman killed very recently, a veteran, 65-year-old veteran, raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant. And we treat illegal immigrants better than we treat our vets. Remember that. Our vets aren't treated properly. Our vets are our greatest people, our wounded warriors and our vets, and we don't even treat them well. But the illegal immigrants, you see what's going on? I mean, in California, they want to take over the city council. They want to now run for office. They're illegal immigrants. I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but the concept of it even. I mean, what's going on is absolutely insane, and we're going to change it. So we don't win anymore, but we're going to start winning, and we're going to start winning big league. We're going to make our country rich again. A woman came up to me, I said that recently at a big rally. I said, we're going to make our country rich again. She said, Mr. Trump, I'm such a fan of yours. I'm voting for you. It doesn't matter. But that doesn't sound nice when you say, make us rich again. I said, you know, ma'am, we owe $19 trillion. We just made one of the dumbest budget deals that I've ever seen. I don't even know. Do the Republicans have anybody negotiating? Okay, you know what I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. I mean, Obama got everything. You know, Obama's a lousy negotiator, except when it comes to negotiating with the Republicans, right? He's a good negotiator with the Republicans. Every country kicks our ass. But with the Republicans, he's like a great negotiator. It's so, oh, that won't happen. Well, in my case, it won't be Obama. We can do it right from the top. Because it all starts, remember this, it all starts from the top down. It all starts from the top down. So we're going to have a country that you're going to be so proud of. I mean, there are so many different things. When you look at those phony employment numbers, where they say we're down to 5.2 and 5.3 and 5.1, it's all nonsense. If you're looking for a job and you give up because you can't find one, statistically, you are considered employed. We have millions and millions of people out there that want jobs. The other thing about the recent numbers, phony numbers, that was developed, that system, for the benefit of politicians, to make them look better. Because it bears no relationship to the fact. Do you think I'd have these crowds, and do you think I'd have this kind of support and be getting 42 and 45 and 39 and all these high percentages against all of these people if things were good? And frankly, I wish things were good, because I love my life. I mean, I love my company. I love my family. I don't need to do this. This is a hard thing. You know, I'm going all over. I love Iowa, but, you know, I could be home watching something tonight, right? I won't be watching the speech, but these are minor details. Won't be watching the press. Actually, I probably will. No, I probably will. Probably. Well, you got to watch. You got to watch. You got to see what the hell's going on, because he doesn't know, so somebody has to. So you look at, as an example, radical Islamic terrorism. We have a president that refuses to say the words. And I don't know, is he stubborn? What's wrong? When people kill people and they announce that that's what they're doing it for, and it goes on and on and on, and it's, you know, not us, all over the world. And at some point you would think that he would say, okay, we have a problem, let's get to the bottom of it. And you can't get to the bottom of a problem unless you are willing to address the problem. And he is not willing to address the problem. And he's never going to get there. And we'll address the problem. And I have friends, I have Muslim friends, they're incredible people. And I'll tell you what, a couple of them, very, very high level, very rich, very good people, even though they're rich, but very, very good people. And some that aren't rich. And they've said to me, you have done a tremendous service by doing this, because we do have a problem. There's tremendous hatred for whatever reason. I mean, when you see somebody willing to walk into a room and start shooting, now, of course, you know, they always walk into rooms where there are no guns. You ever notice that? Like the military base. They walk in gun-free zone on a military base. We have 5 great soldiers, one of whom is a world-class expert on marksmanship, one of the great shots, one of the great marksmen. They're told to put down their guns 100 yards away. It's a gun-free zone. Now, when a sicko hears gun-free zone, when these sick people hear gun, that's like candy. That's like, I want a piece of apple pie. They walk in. We have 5 unbelievable, brave, great soldiers that are dead now because they look for gun-free zones. So we have to be careful with that. We have to be careful. Now, these guys had the gun. Number one, they wouldn't have been there. He wouldn't have been there. Number two, if he was going to get blown away, which would have been fine. The other thing, and I tell the press all the time, I mean, they make people like, they make them like, they glamorize it. They call this thug in Paris the mastermind. Did you hear them all saying, the mastermind? What's the mastermind? He's a guy with a very low IQ, I guarantee. I call him the guy with the dirty hat because he had this horrible, disgusting, filthy hat on. And I said to the press, and they don't use the term anymore. I think if I did one thing, they're not using it because our children are being radicalized in many cases by ISIS and others. They're using the internet better than us, and we're the ones that invented it. And they're they're taking kids and they're going and they're fighting for ISIS, and then we allow people back. How about this? They go, they fight for ISIS, and then we let them come back. And somebody said, well, there's no law that allows us to keep them. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? So they fight for ISIS. Someday they won't go. They'll just fight here. They don't want to go. Why should they go over to Syria? Why should they go over to Iraq and fight when they can stay right here and fight? So why do we allow people? We know they're ISIS, and they come right in, and we let them come back. It's insane. So I just want to tell you that it's a special place. I love Iowa. We're going to do so great. We're going to win, and we're going to start winning. We're going to win so much that you people are going to get sick and tired of winning. You are going to say, please, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. No. We're going to win with the military, and we're going to win with health care, and we're going to win against all these countries that have been ripping us off for years. We're going to win with trade. We're going to have the smartest people. Right now we have political hacks. They're political hacks. They're nothing. I know a lot of these guys, they can't find their way through their own front door. They're political hacks, and they get the jobs because they gave campaign contributions to these politicians that I'm running against, including, and I'm talking on both sides. So we're going to start winning. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see. We're going to make America great again. You're going to be so proud of this country, and you're going to be so proud of your president. And I love you. I love you all. I want to thank you. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.